Can you explain the pitch and catch? Certainly. When we have an upward trajectory like that, and we're starting to fail where we couldn't get any higher, this is how algorithms reacted. Because they're not humans, sometimes they can make mistakes. Good morning, everybody, and happy Monday. Trade bank holidays? I already traded. We'll talk about that in a second. But markets are open, banks are closed. I kind of wish that markets were closed today, to be honest. I mean, I always love a day off. I know you people that have been trading for 5 years or less look at that and they're like, I want to trade every day. Why isn't the market open on Saturday? I get it. But me, I like my vacation days now. When's the next market closure? Let's see. I think Thanksgiving. I don't think we have anything until Thanksgiving here. Let's see, nicey holidays. I think it's Thanksgiving. Yeah, it's Thanksgiving. Golly. Yeah, Thursday, November 27th, and then Thursday. Thank God they're both on Thursdays, though, which means that, like, I'm probably going to take, I'll probably take Wednesday through Friday off on Thanksgiving week, and then Christmas week, I'll take Wednesday through Friday off, so that'll be nice. But we will, if you've been watching the stream for a couple years, you know how much we give away during Christmas time in here. During the holiday season, Santa Rips comes along, and we start blessing the chat with hundreds of free accounts. That God candle, the open was wild. How many contracts were traded? That's a great question. Let's find out. You know what's funny is that there was literally no opportunity. Like, I didn't trade any of the Globex, obviously, but 3,100 contracts there in the first opening minute candle. But let's look at the 10-second. Let's get really deep in that thing. Yeah, it was. If you were watching it on Bookmap, you could see that there was like a gap. It opened and then it froze and then there was a gap. You could see it right here on the 10-second chart. But in that opening candle, 662 and then 958 in those first 20 seconds. But there was a huge gap betwixt these two candles. And, you know, if you fired in an order here, right, depending on who your broker is, like, I don't know what would have happened with AMP. If I click market buy the moment the market opens, they could have filled me at the top of this candle, which would have been pretty just awful, you know, let's say. Which, by the way, AMP had a margin on with my $669,000 in my account that I had before I took the trade this morning. The max I could have taken was 78 contracts. Imagine if I just fired it in full size and then they filled me at the top of this candle, because they can do whatever they want with a market order. Since the market kind of stopped in this moment, can we go to like a 5-second maybe? Or even a 1 second? Do we have 1 second? We do. I go all the way back. I want to see. I think it even printed like even on 1 second here. This is going to take me a minute to scroll all the way back here, but there you go. Yeah, so look at this gap on the 1 second candle here. This is what I'm talking about. So the candle closed at 630 and then it reopened at 700. So you're talking about a 70-point gap. Like, if you're trying to fill there and all of a sudden you get filled, you know, you'd have to be very quick and tactile. I'm not saying that I could have done it, but that's gambling at that point. Like, that's really stupid, because who's to say that you fire in here and then it fills you like down here and it dumps or whatever the case. But anyway, it was insane. We closed at like whatever. Oh, I have to go way back for that, but yeah, we closed much lower than that, and we gapped up. So I'm sure a lot of people who were short into the weekend got clapped and destroyed. So that's another reason why I don't really hold positions over the weekend. Does the market close early today? It does not. It does not. I'm assuming that everybody that's asking that is from across the pond, by the way. But yeah, it's been a very interesting day in the market so far. When I was finished writing the memo, I had my charts open. I had my AMP account open, of course, and there was this candle right here that went crazy, and we can look at that in Bookmap as well. Right here, this was going so slow now. All right, so this right here, this was being shorted into not a lot of volume, and then it got displaced because Besant, this is the Secretary Besant, he said something on a Fox News interview that was entirely misinterpreted by the algorithms, right? Algorithms, there's not one singular algorithm that delivers price. It's the thing you'll ever hear. That's the stupidest thing on the planet. There's not one singular algorithm that powers the stock market. If you're thinking that, it's probably not a good idea to watch my stream. You should probably go watch some type of fantasy or something. But algorithms are all jostling for position, and when we have news that comes out, like the news that we had from Secretary Besant, this is how algorithms reacted. Because they're not humans, sometimes they can make mistakes, right? They can make awfully terrible mistakes. And the mistake was that they misinterpreted what he had said, because it was something along the lines of like, no, China and the US are all chill now. That's how the algorithms interpreted it. But in reality, that was not the case, right? That was not what happened. So what you saw was a complete booty blasting of everybody who had positioned themselves short, because you can see that it was coming from a little bit higher here, right? Came from a little bit higher here. here, but a couple interesting things happen. So obviously on this move, I'm either gonna try to take it long or I'm gonna wait for the reaction. I heard what he had said and I saw the algorithms reacting and I said, this is gonna be an overreaction. So I immediately am no longer looking for longs on this candle push. Instead, I'm looking for a short, right? So I wanna see this thing top out and then I'm looking for another thing. I'm looking for where's the structure, right? So the structure for me, if we scroll back here a little bit, you can see it perfectly in Bookmap. You can also see it in the charts, but the structure of this area has been defined right around here at 840, right? Right around here at 840, there's a clear structure that went from a topping area in the market to a baseline area of the market. Now, what I'm looking for now that I understand that the algorithms misinterpret this, you're gonna see them going right back on sides to interpreting the news correctly, right? And so what I'm looking for is that break of 840. So on this break of 840 right here, I'm looking for two things. One, there's gonna be algorithms that are going back on side, and then I'm looking for a clear rejection of underneath 830, and that's what we had here. So we had a sweep below 840, I'm getting short, a rejection below 840, and then I'm adding into that position and covering into this beautiful flush that we had right along here. So what does that look like in my AMP account? That's the trade that I took this morning after I'd finished writing the memo. It was exactly what I just said. The break of 840, the add on the pop up, and then the cover into the flush, and that was good enough for $8,600 there. And that was the only trade that I took today. It puts the balance at $678,000. So that's the trade that I took today. That's the trade, and that's the thesis behind the trade. I've been trading the news nearly most of my 11-year career in trading the markets. Trading the news is one thing that either people understand or they do not understand. I used to trade breaking news in 2016, 2017, almost exclusively, and I would do it in equities because you would have news releases, press releases throughout the day. Now, if you think back to what I've talked about in the past about how I used to spend 10 plus hours in front of my screens, obviously earning my stripes in the market, but I don't really do that anymore. But back then, I would have a mess of equities that I'd be watching, tradable equities that had a lot of movement during the day. And when we're talking about a lot of movement, it was like 1 or 2% back then. And I would be trading those, but I'd be trading larger size because equities are moving like 50 cents or $1 on a good move. So you're sizing into like 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 shares of an equity. So with breaking news, you're looking for one of two things. Either you're catching the exact breaking news, or you're seeing that there's an imbalance in the market where the algorithms got it wrong and you're trying to trade that back into balance, or you're trading a continuation of a correct reaction from the algorithm. So there's a lot of different ways to skin the cat. But yeah, you can see, obviously didn't take any other trades during Globex. The only other trades that I took were on Friday. Obviously Friday's trade, if you missed that, we're doing that live on stream. We caught a total of 1, 2, 3, looks like 4 total trades. And on Friday, we made $29,000 doing that. So it's really about, like, you know, people ask me, how do you momentum trade? How do you trade the news? It really is just about spending time earning your stripes doing it and being connected to a news source that's going to deliver you that news that's breaking at the moment that it breaks. Now, that can be done less expensive with something like Squawks, or that can be done with something like a Bloomberg terminal that's going to get you literally up to the second news. You're never going to be able to beat the algorithms, but there's always chances for continuation. And just because a piece of news comes out doesn't mean that it's always tradable, and nor should you rush to trade every single piece of breaking news. But this comes from, you know, years and years of trading breaking news that I hear from Squawks or literal text that's appearing on the screen from Reuters, from AP, from Bloomberg, and etc. So does anybody have any questions about what I'm discussing right now? I'm sure this is foreign to a lot of you folks that are tuning in, but I'm trying to be as thorough as possible so we're all kind of on the same page here. But yeah, that's a textbook out of balance algorithm trade, and watching those algorithms get back into balance and break of structure, adding into that, covering on the low extension there. How do you recognize if the algorithm got the news correctly or not? Well, if they are reacting, for instance, let's just say that I'm going to use a very exaggerated example that would never happen in reality. But let's say that there's a news that comes out that says Trump is going to tariff China by 1,000 more %. And the market shoots up on that. Again, it's never going to happen. Algorithms are never going to be that bad, right? But let's just say that did happen. Obviously, that's not the correct reaction from the market, or at least I can't make sense of it. So I'd be waiting for that move to peak out, and then I'd be getting heavy short as possible, because obviously the algorithms are misinterpreting that headline or that news release or what somebody said. And again, I'm using a very exaggerated example that would never happen in reality, but you know, that's what I'd be looking for. Something where the algorithms clearly got something wrong. When you say back to balance or out of balance, do you see the imbalance on Bookmap, or where do you know to identify the balance from? It's all market structure. And again, if the algorithms misinterpreted the news, in that case, they shot up and then they immediately realize that no, that was misinterpreted, and they immediately start going short or covering whatever their longs were. That's suggesting that the market is out of balance. And I mean, literally, if you look at Bookmap, you can see that, let's wait for it to load. We were going down on the news, on basically just on the flows of the morning. We were going down off this peak. We had a short squeeze, and then we were going down off that news. We had one more peak up. And again, we're looking for these peaks to be overtaken. 890s and 900s are kind of the level to watch. If the algorithms get that wrong, it's going to be seen because we didn't even get back to where a lot of the flows were waiting up at 880 and above. 880 essentially to 900, those 20 handles, never even interacted with. So it's just understanding the macro environment, understanding what the news was that came out when it broke, and then seeing the weakness in the fact that algorithms got this wrong. They're completely out of balance now. They're going to trade back into balance and beyond. So that's what the trade is. Thanks for giving me additional tool for my trading toolbox. Of course. What do you make of Trump saying yesterday on True Social not to worry about China, that he respects Xi? Well, that's what caused the 700-point gap up, essentially. That's why we saw the markets gap up 700 points. And now we have a lot of people who were short completely off sides now. So they're either choosing where to cover at a loss in today's price action, or we're going to see them pile in short and maybe there's some negative news. All right, watching on this pullback here, watching 80s. 80s are that line in the sand. Okay, watching here above 80s now. If we start squeezing up towards 900s, this thing is completely valid. Got to hold above 80s here. Watching 90s. Little pop above 90s. Can it hold this push? Little struggle bust at the 90s. Front running 95 here, but I think we still break through. There you go. There's that pop above 900 now. Watching on this pull. Can we follow through here? This beautiful order flow. Nice push. Let's see 905 clear. And cleared at 905. Beautiful, beautiful. That's going to put us up 10,000 bucks there. Pitch and catch. Filled right at 905. Beautiful. Inverted tiger gap, huh? 10s are trading. We're still going to grind, I feel. I feel like we're going to go for that Monday high, but $10,000 seemed a lot better than 8,600. So we made almost 2,000 on that trade. Those 5 contracts. Can you explain the pitch and catch? Certainly. When we have an upward trajectory like that, and we're starting to fail where we couldn't get any higher, right? We're trying to trade 900s up here. We couldn't get any higher. We're waiting for that to falter, and we're looking for order flow to support. So I call that a pitch and catch, and we're targeting just above 900, which is 5 points above the order flow that we couldn't touch last time. It's the most obvious area for it to go. It went even 5 points higher. It went 910, so. Man, $10,000 a day, it adds up. Let me tell you, it adds up. I'm quite proud of that. It's fine. Can you make more? Of course you can. Could I have made way more today? Sure. I'm not over leveraging. I'm not oversizing. I feel very good about today. Can lose more. Exactly right. Can always lose more.